So a while ago, we saw the release of the first couple of teaser trailers for Inside Out. And for somebody that thought a sequel to Inside Out 1 was a bit of a risk for Pixar, considering they've been churning out a lot of unsuccessful films for the last couple of years, it well and truly shut me up instantly and made me realise what an idiot I'd been. It's a sequel to a beloved film. Of course it's a smart idea to run it back. Stupid! Honestly, the more I think about it, the more I realise just how daft my take was on that whole thing. And so yeah, let's just forget I ever said anything. But recently, we got the first full proper trailer out, and that was in the last day or so. And after only having 2 teasers, which aren't really full-length trailers, I was pretty hyped up as soon as I saw it had been uploaded. But then having watched it, I must admit I am a little bit disappointed, almost in a selfish way. In that I'm just a teensy bit salty that they showed so many repeat clips, simply because I just want to see more, you know? I didn't get to. But then on the other side of the coin, I always go on and on about how it's great when studios don't spoil the best lines and best plot points in the trailer so that it feels more fresh, and your first time reaction is far more genuine to those moments, as you don't have any idea what's going on and you can get more immersed in the story. And so I guess what I'm trying to get across here is that I'm a very fickle person who doesn't really know what he wants at all. But regardless, we're going to go through the trailer and see what we see. Okay, so to start off, we get an alternate cut of the hockey game where the emotions each share control of Riley. Now that Joy's decided that she needs to share control of Riley with the other emotions, it definitely looks like her personality's begun to evolve, to grow, to change. We see her rage in the rink. We see her suddenly become very safety conscious, accidentally use somebody else's mouth guard, and I gotta say, that is truly disgusting. But on the flip side, who the hell just leaves their mouth guard out in the open anyway? Like, ugh, that'll pick up bacteria like nothing else. And then you put it in your mouth? No thank you, that's nightmare fuel. Also, how many people are turning up to watch youth hockey in San Francisco? Because that's a whole lot of people there watching the game. Just thought I'd ask, because in Australia, it feels like unless it's a professional game, or like in a country town where there's nothing else to do, or a big game like a final, nobody really turns up except the parents watching from the sidelines. And even then, it's like one of the parents. The other one's at home. But when she's whizzing past with the puck, that's a lot of folks. So, yeah. Anyway, bit of a tangent, let's move on. I thought it was cool that Pixar seemed to have made Riley seem a bit more awkward, because to me, it does look like she's in the midst of that awkward teen phase that we all went through. Gangly, oddly proportioned. I think she's got some pimples on her face too, yeesh. I do not miss that age, I tell you what. Nightmarish. So yeah, Riley's now 13, and as we see in the trailer, she's now facing down the life of a teenager, and all the new emotions that come along with that. Now previously, we'd seen anxiety make an appearance in the teaser trailers, and they'd also been hinting at all the other emotions that were going to appear, but we never actually got to see them, or even have their names confirmed or anything like that. And so here, we got to see a little bit more of that. We see anxiety, of course, as this is just extrapolating on that scene where we met them, and then we meet Envy, who, well, she's adorable, what can I say? Not exactly what I expected when I heard the word envy, but it actually makes a lot of sense. A little kid who wants everything and is constantly following you around, pestering you. Oh, can I have that? Can I have that? Can I have that? I want that. I want that. I want that.
I do that.
Makes a lot of sense. Really clever now I think about it. Next up we have Ennui, or Boredom. Looks like they're going to be a fun character. Probably like an Eeyore type.
So are you happy, Eeyore?
No.
And then there's also Embarrassment. My god, embarrassment is too relatable. Ugh. Actually, in fact, all of these new teenage emotions are too relatable to me. I'm feeling a bit personally attacked here. My god. Anyway, moving on. Here we start to build the drama, as it becomes clear that these new emotions, well, they kind of need to be present. They need to be involved in the running of Riley's mind. They want to be involved, especially since the new situations that Riley's encountering, as she's getting older and older, they're calling for a wider and more complex array of emotional responses. And the trailer kind of presents the new teenage emotions as the bad guys here. They take control of the headquarters, they bottle up the old emotions, they suppress them, don't let them out to work at the console. And as we know from the first film, when one of those emotions is not present in the HQ, isn't there to provide those emotional responses for Riley, well then Riley starts to fall out of whack and things go wrong in her life. Things like running away from home and having your personality begin to crumble. That sort of wrong. But that being said, I do think we're not getting the full picture here. I think it's a little bit of a misdirect. As we see early on, Riley meets a new girl who the emotions quickly realize is super cool, super popular, somebody they want to be friends with. And I'm guessing that Joy is going to do her classic Joy thing and not listen and try to stay in control. And we do see that. She makes a pretty cringy first impression and doesn't listen to anxiety. Like, whew, that's no good. And I think that this and the OG emotions being stubborn, not wanting to give up any ground to these newbies is going to quickly lead to conflict. And thus the new teenage emotions, they're going to do, as teens often do, and overreact, stage a coup, and imprison them in a jar, taking full control. Which, as we quickly see, isn't any good either, because there's no balance. And we see that when they get Riley to ditch her old friends for the new popular kids, see you later island of friendship, and have a meltdown at home. So I expect we're going to be seeing a bit of a similar arc to what happened in the first film. The teen emotions are going to take control, the OGs are going to get cut off and have to head down into Riley's mind again to have their own adventures. And we do see a little bit of a glimpse of that with them and the sarcasm. I gotta say, the sarcasm, that was very funny, very clever. How do they think of these things? But yeah, these new emotions are going to take charge. And slowly but surely, these unregulated emotions, they're going to wreak havoc on Riley's life. Losing friends, probably drama with the family, laziness, melancholy, being embarrassed by everything and everyone. That sort of stuff, you know, the normal teenage experience. But at the same time, I don't think they're going to be presented as traditional antagonists. I think they're going to put them in the jar, something goes wrong, the jar's going to end out in the mine somewhere by accident, and then the newbies, they're going to realise they're well and truly in over their heads, whilst the OGs are also going to realise that they weren't being fair either, they were being controlling. And so they're all going to want them to come back together, as Riley just keeps swirling more and more out of control. And I gotta say, whilst it does seem like the overall story is a bit similar to the original story of Inside Out 1, I think that it doesn't mean the story's gonna feel stale. Simply because, whilst the skeleton is the same, the bones of the film, those main story beats, or at least from what I've garnered from this trailer, all the content that fills up the rest, the characters, dialogue, Riley's story, that feels like it's gonna be very different. And so it's gonna feel like a different movie. Instead of that coming of age, goodbye to childhood film of the first one, this is going to be more the teenage experience. Excellent. And then at the end, of course, it's going to conclude with them all living in harmony after some life lessons. Which is kind of what I expect just based on the ending of the first film. Surely you'd have a happy ending, right? I mean, maybe the newbies get tossed into a jar or the memory dump, hence why these new emotions never seem to appear in the minds of the adult characters like Mrs. Anderson, although I feel like that would be a very, very grim ending. So I doubt they do that. So yeah, it's going to be a happy ending for sure. But yeah, that was really all there was. The trailer was really good, really enjoyed it. Wish we had more of it. But at the same time, I'm grateful it's not all been spoiled. I'm excited to see the film though. Us animation fans, we're eating so well this year, I tell you what. So not much else to say other than these have just been my opinions, and now I'd like to hear yours. What did you think of the trailer? Did you like it, hate it? You hyped for the film? Maybe not. I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.